Budgetary control system for my operational expenditure is one of the most important and critical asked by many of our customers from SAP system. But we sometimes follow the route of some internal order or some WBS or some Excel way of working that. So the requirement of controlling the operational expenditure is very clear and very precise. It should not be managed with any of the workaround options like internal order, WBS or Excel. So we have a standard solution for controlling the operational budgeting in SAP system, that is called Budgetary Control System. So Budgetary Control System is one of the feature which can help you and support you in a good way to monitor, track, control with availability control feature for the tracking and controlling the budgets. So now let us understand how these controls are there in system and how the budgetary control exercise normally we work in SAP system. So let's check the features in SAP. Funds management in SAP, it has two important type of expenditure. One OPEX and another is CAPEX. As we all know, OPEX is operational expenditure and CAPEX is capital expenditure. So first let me give a light on the capital expenditure, because capital expenditure is controlled through project system, because there are WBS elements are there, and in each of the WBS elements we can enter the budget, and according to the budget the control of that expenditure is being taken care, because there is no concept of GL account by budgeting in the WBS element. WBS element capture the budget for the total WBS as a whole. So, but in the CAPEX that is sufficient for us to monitor and maintain. But in OPEX we need to control our budget by GL account, by department, by different our monetary requirement of that things. For example, the marketing spend, etc. So there we have to have a detailed budget tracking. So in this particular video we are going to discuss about the operational expenditure budget tracking. So in OPEX mainly the expenditure which we control are marketing spend, professional fees for some high value items, and admin nature expenditures which are part and parcel of our regular operational expenditure. These funds need to be controlled on a quarterly basis, even though SAP has the feature to maintain the budget on an annual basis. But in many of the places, in my client's place, we have seen the requirement of tracking the budgets on a quarterly basis, because they want to control the budget for one quarter, track the usage of that budget for that quarter and release the budget for the next quarter. If that is the requirement, that also we can handle in our budgetary control system based on the quarterly things. Then department-wise budget should be allocated and controlled for each of the expenditure head. When I say department is nothing but different fund center. In budgetary control system we call this as a fund center. Say for example, fund center for production, fund center for finance, fund center for HR, fund center for procurement. So these are the different fund centers under which we can allocate the budget and we can monitor the budget tracking according to the head of expenditure. So when we say the head of expenditure, like for example, if I take the example for finance department, under the finance department the head of expenditure can be the professional fees, audit fees, and so on and so forth. These are the head of expenditure under which we can control and enter our budget. Now funds should be blocked right from the stage of the purchase requisition. So if you want to control our budget right from the stage at which we are raising the purchase requisition, so there also we have a facility to control the budget. So when let's say you are creating a purchase requisition for 1 lakh rupees, so automatically the 1 lakh rupees amount of the budget is transferred to the committed section. So immediately when you raise the purchase order, that commitment will be transferred from purchase requisition to purchase order and so on and so forth. So this is what the normal requirement for the budgetary control system from the OPEX side. All financial expenditures, whether it is related to marketing, professional, etc., are controlled and gone through these OPEX things and monitor through budgetary control system, and we can do that. But some expenditure, for example salary, raw material, etc., which we do not want to control budget, we can exclude them from the budgeting system. For example depreciation, etc., we can still exclude them from the regular operational expenditure budgeting. Now how it works in SAP? First we need to enter the budget by quarter, by department, by head of expenditure. So here if I relate, the department is nothing but my fund center, expense head is my commitment item. Once we enter the budget, then we can release the budget. Then let us have a work overview of the P2P cycle. Normally in the P2P cycle, the purchase requisition is created and the budget is consumed and shown under the commitment section. When we convert the PR to PO, the budget will be checked again, and suppose if my PR is raised for 1 lakh and with negotiation of the vendor and all, let's say the PO is raised for, let's say 90,000 or 110,000. So according to that number, that PO will be raised, and the difference of that either 10,000 plus or 10,000 minus, the budget will be either consumed or released from the commitment section. Then once we do the GRN for the purchase order, again that is also part of the budget check, but normally whatever the PO value is there, GRN value is almost same in most of the cases. After the GRN is raised, when we have to go for the vendor invoicing, if we get vendor invoice for the same amount, then yes, no problem. But if for some reason, for quality control or for some other reason, if vendor invoice is higher or lower than the GRN value, then for that extra amount also system will consume that additional budget or release the budget. Then when we pass the vendor payment, at that time there is no need to check any budget, because that is just a outflow of the cash based on the liability which we have already booked as per the invoice of the vendor. Then coming to the direct FI postings, under direct FI postings, for all the vendor invoices, if it is not routing through PO, then the budget will be checked immediately at the time of posting the invoices. And if any other salary posting or depreciation posting, we can exclude them from the regular control of the budget. So this is how the features of budgetary control system in SAP, and this complete feature is very flexible, dynamic and easily adaptable for the organization way of working. Now let me show you how we can see those entry, release, etc. in SAP. So this is the SAP screen for the report, where we can see how much budget is there, how much budget we can consume, how much budget is available for our purpose. So as of now, this is the one for one fund center, let's say admin fund center, and there is a professional fees. Originally, now let's say to start there is a budget of 70,000, and further we want to increase the budget. So we want to increase the budget now by entering the budget here. So we are entering, let's say 2,50,000 budget, and the balance of the budget after we enter is 3,20,000. Now this is how you can check the report before the budget, then after the budget. So as of now, these budgets are only entered in the system, but these budgets are not available for us to utilize for our PRPO or expenditure. Now how can we make it available for utilization? Then we need to release this budget. So this is the step where we release the budget. So now once we release, let's say 80,000 rupees out of 320. So if we see out of 320, 80,000 is consumable budget, and how much is consumed and how much is available is also can be seen here in the same report. Now let me show you one the cycle to show how the purchase order is being placed and all. So let's say we are raising a purchase order for 1 unit, and let's say 300 rupees is the budget for this particular PO. So this is how the PO is being raised, and you can see the fund center and commitment item being reflected here in this purchase order, and this is how the purchase order is being raised. Now immediately when we create this, so this is being shown in this particular report, and against that we can see that in this report. Now all these things can be seen in this report, where we can go by invoice, by purchase order, by document posting, how and which document, which amount is reflecting for the commitment, for the final budget. Everything is visible from here. So this makes the entire control from the start to end very easy and very simple to control. Now if you need more information on this budgetary control, let's say if you want to see some kind of a real scenario demo, you can always contact us and we are happy to help you. So this is our inquiry. You can drop an email to this email ID and you can contact in this number, and we are there to help you, and the time for this implementation is very quick. Within 2 to 3 months we can make this operational for you, and the rates are also very reasonable. Please contact us. Thank you.